Hey, have you ever really looked at the stuff around you? I mean, really thought about it? From the device you're watching this on to the chair you're sitting in, every single object has a hidden story. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover that incredible journey.
And we're going to start with something that's, well, a bit of a mind bender. Look at this kayak. It's solid, it's sleek, it floats. But what if I told you it started its life as a thick, black liquid pumped from deep underground? Yep, crude oil.
So the first question is obvious. How in the world do you turn liquid goo into a solid boat? But there's a bigger, more important question here. With all the amazing materials nature already gives us, wood, metal, stone, why would we go to all the trouble of inventing something totally new? That's exactly what we're going to figure out.
So here's the game plan. We'll look at nature's building blocks, their pros and cons. Then we'll dive into how we literally rearrange atoms to invent better materials. After that, we'll follow the 5-stage secret life of pretty much every product, weigh the hidden costs and benefits, and finally, check out how engineers are trying to design a smarter future for all our stuff. All right, let's get into it.
First up, what nature has to offer. You see, to really get why we invent things like plastic, we first have to understand what the Earth already gives us and, where those natural gifts kind of come up short.
Think about it like this. Wood is strong, right? But it soaks up water and, well, it burns. Steel is super tough and waterproof, but it's heavy and you can't really bend it easily. And cotton, it's soft and flexible, but you wouldn't want to build a house out of it. See, every natural material is a trade-off. It's awesome for some things, but totally wrong for others.
And it's not just about being strong or waterproof. Take something as basic as color. For centuries, all our paints and dyes came from crushed up plants and minerals. But there were huge problems. The colors would fade in the sun. Some of them were literally poisonous to work with, and others were just incredibly rare and expensive. Nature gave us a great start, but we kept hitting a wall. We needed something more.
So what do? We got creative. Really creative. We stopped just taking what nature offered, and we became, well, atomic architects. We learned how to take the atoms nature gave us and rearrange them into our own custom designs.
And this led to the birth of synthetic materials. These are things that you just won't find anywhere in the wild. They are 100% human-made. We cook them up in labs using chemical reactions that basically snap nature's molecules apart and stick them back together in brand new ways, creating substances with totally new abilities.
Which brings us right back to our kayak. So how does it work? Well, you start with ethylene, which is a gas you get from crude oil. Then you kick off a chemical reaction that acts like a kind of molecular matchmaker. It breaks the old bonds between atoms and encourages them to form new ones. Suddenly, all these individual ethylene molecules start linking together, hand in hand, to form a super long chain. That chain is called polyethylene. And just like that, you've transformed a simple gas into a solid, durable, waterproof plastic that's perfect for making, well, kayaks.
But here's the thing. Making the material is just chapter 1 of the story. Every single product out there, whether it's a plastic kayak or a simple cotton t-shirt, goes on a much, much longer journey. Let's take a look at this hidden life cycle.
This journey pretty much always has 5 stages. It all starts with stage 1, getting the raw materials like drilling for oil or logging trees. Stage 2 is production, where factories turn those resources into actual products. Then comes stage 3, distribution, which is just a fancy word for shipping stuff all over the globe. Stage 4 is when we get involved. That's consumer use. And finally, stage 5 is disposal, where the product gets thrown out, maybe reused, or hopefully recycled. It's this massive, complex system that's almost entirely invisible to most of us. So, what's the big picture impact of this whole system? Well, as you can probably guess, every single step in that journey has its own set of hidden costs and benefits. Some really serious societal and environmental trade-offs we have to grapple with. Really, it's a giant balancing act. On the one hand, the system creates millions of jobs, from mining to shipping. It gives us things that improve our lives, like life-saving medicines. It makes goods more affordable for everyone. But, on the other hand, getting those resources can pollute land and water. Factories can pollute the air, and all that shipping pumps out greenhouse gases. There are no easy answers here, just tough choices and consequences.
And speaking of crude oil, get ready for this, because it's a bit of a shocker. We talk about plastic all the time, right? But look at where most of a barrel of crude oil actually goes. A massive 42% becomes gasoline. Another 26% becomes diesel. All the other things we make from it, plastics, fertilizers, medicines, you name it, all of that comes from just 15% of the barrel.
It really puts into perspective how much of the stuff we're just burning for fuel.
So, given all these complicated trade-offs and environmental costs, where do we go from here? Well, this is where engineers come into the picture. They're not just trying to invent more new materials, they're working to redesign this entire system for a smarter, more sustainable future.
And they are tackling this problem from every possible angle. They're trying to invent biodegradable plastics that can break down naturally. They're redesigning factories to use less energy and create less waste. They're creating super lightweight packaging to save fuel when we ship things. And maybe coolest of all, they're developing amazing new ways to sort our old products and turn that so-called waste back into a valuable resource.
And this isn't just about being environmentally friendly, it's also about being smart with money. Get this, a company making 75,000 plastic bottles can save over a third of their material cost just by using recycled plastic instead of brand new plastic. That's a huge deal. It gives companies a real financial reason to do the right thing.
So we've gone all the way from a drop of oil deep in the earth, to a lab where atoms are rearranged, to a factory, and finally to a recycling plant. The story of our stuff is so much more complex, and honestly, more fascinating than you might think. Which leaves us with one last question. The next time you pick up something made of plastic, what part of its incredible story will you see? Will you see the ancient crude oil, the clever chemistry, the long journey it took to reach you? Or maybe, just maybe, its potential for a brand new life?